trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit.
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Wrestle Radio Australia. I'm your host, Lachlan Albert, and I am joined today by one of the hottest rising stars in Australian wrestling today, the P-Plation sensation, Jesse Lambert. Jesse, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm very good. Very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. We're huge fans of what you do here at Wrestle Radio Australia. And, you know, this week on WRA, we're all about EPW ReAwakening 23, which is going to be on this weekend at Willetton Stadium. Really excited for that. Anyone who hasn't got a ticket yet, just pause the video, jump over to epwperth.com. You can grab your tickets there. But I want to talk because you're in the main event of that show, Jesse, going for the title that you held so dearly, the EPW Heavyweight Championship, which is now around the waist of Marcus Pitt. But you don't just have him to contend with. You're also facing off against the Radmaker Kingston and the Fremantle Alpha Taylor King. What are your thoughts going into this massive main event?
Well, my first big thoughts are like the one I've said before. This is a very big fever dream year. It's very much been a joke being like, oh, I'll win the EPW title and then I'll go to ReAwakening in the main event. It's always been a joke. So for it to happen now is especially at a point where I thought I'd have a bit of a hot run, but not as hot as I thought it would be. Just winning the EPW title and then just losing it and then fighting for it again at ReAwakening. And especially with those three, just because my first ReAwakening was, I believe it was ReAwakening 15. I was about 14 years old. The main event was Marcus Pitt versus Damian Slater versus Mikey Nichols. And Marcus Pitt won the EPW title. I think that was the last time he won the EPW title was that show. And then next thing you know, I'm his next one that he wins. He's the EPW title again. So that's a low point. But being able to be in the main event with him, that's great. Kingston was there as well. Kingston wrestled, I think, in a 2-on-3 handicap match where he got powerbombed through the stage. And that always stuck with me as a 14-year-old. And then Taylor King was in a battle royal. So all
9-man battle royal. Yep. So ReAwakening 14 flashbacks there.
Yes, that's what it was. And then, he was the King of Ping. And I always thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
And just, now to be able to have wrestled all three of them, teamed with two of them, and now wrestling in the main event, it's just weird. It's a fever dream.
But not only that, I need to point out the fact that you've beaten all three of those men for the EPW heavyweight title, right? If you look at this past year, Evolution, you beat both Kingston and Pitt in a triple threat match. Hell or High Water, you beat Taylor King. That's got to put you in a confident position, right?
It does, in a way. I feel like the loss at Vendetta really did kind of make me take a look back at all the victories. Obviously, after with Marcus Pitt and Kingston, there was a while where I wasn't. It was just kind of happenstance that I won. And I caught Taylor King off guard just for that, just enough for the 3-second tan, but. There's still that little bit of a question mark. So I feel like if I have to prove myself the most I can, it's elimination. I've got to beat all three of them clean.
That's
The
true.
main one I
True.
feel like I need to prove myself the most with is Marcus Pitt, though, because he did get his win against me in 27 seconds. It was, I've got it counted, 27 seconds. I doubt I'm going to be able to beat him in 26 like I dream of, but I'm going in there, and that's my call. That's my shot. I'm calling it. I need to
gotta hurt a bit when you have a big celebration entrance that lasts longer than the match. You know, like that's got to be a bit of a heartbreaker.
Yeah, especially that marching band was like about $400, and my main event payday did not cover that at all. So,
oh, shocking.
broke and titleless, I was left at the end of that show.
And we'll talk about, like, you know, Marcus, like, obviously all three of the guys you're facing have a wealth of experience, but Marcus Pitt especially, I worked it out before, he's going to be walking into Reawakening his 98th day of this title reign, bringing him up to 783 days as EPW Heavyweight Champion. Like, this is a guy who has so much experience, and you've been wrestling for what, a few years now since you came through with 2.5 wrestlers? Like,
yeah, I believe my first match was 2019, and then obviously with COVID and all that, and on main shows and being with Bob and Dan, yeah, like I've got as much in-ring knowledge as his right toe, like as one of the toes on the right foot. But yeah, it's a big ask. It is a very big ask, but I don't know. I've gone this far. Last year, Reawakening, I did it. I beat him. I beat Damian Slater this year. I managed to pin him before. I'm gonna try and do it again.
I'll be really picky and let you know that the Reawakening actually comes 5 days short of your 6th anniversary of being on an EPW show with Jake Taylor.
Really?
Sorry. Yeah, so 19th of October was that first match at the EPW house show. Because I remember your next one was Gavin McGavin. So
Yeah.
there was some early talent there that you were seeing at the end of 2018. So, you know, you take COVID out of that time, it's not a whole lot of time to have had the level of experiences that you've had, right? So I just want to talk, like, the L plater, P plater gimmick is kind of tied to that level of inexperience. Do you think that gimmick is going to kind of hold you, you know, to kind of an inexperienced style of in-ring work? Do you think that you're now attached to this character who kind of has to be inexperienced?
I feel I've always had a weird one with the L plater to P plater kind of thing, because yeah, it very much did cover the fact that I wasn't very good when I started. People have made that very clear to me, being like, "Hey, you're not good, but you're good. You're really funny." And then I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And then, but no, and I've done that, and then I feel, especially early, like in the P plate days, like I have kind of tried to, like kind of get away from it, try to wrestle a bit more, and just be a little bit more like good in a way.
More technically proficient.
Technically proficient. That's a good word for it. But I'm actually very grateful for it, because I think on the other side of that coin is starting with this L play and kind of coming in very green, very like not technically proficient. People kind of have always seen me as like a little brother, and they've kind of seen me grow. And I feel like even though they're little steps at the start, like it was kind of getting into the ring on my own and hitting very basic moves, they're very much excited for me to kind of get to that point. So kind of going from that to the EPW Championship, it's been like that kind of engagement with the crowd and how much like they've gotten behind me. Like I wouldn't be able to do that if I spent that 5 years learning by myself in a warehouse and then kind of coming out and being like, hey, I'm this really good wrestler guy. Like,
Yeah,
there's no way.
absolutely.
And I wouldn't take it back for a second. I wouldn't. And then I'm still getting good. I'm still hopefully now I'm kind of in that thing where I'm trying stuff out and I'm doing new stuff and I'm kind of like, hey, good or bad, and they'll let me know now. They'll let me. It's kind of like going to another wrestler for advice on something. Like they're there to kind of be like, oh yeah, we like that, or they're at a point they're like, not really, and then I can kind of use that. And I've got a long way to go, so a lot more.
But look, it's often said that you can teach wrestling moves. You can always get back into the training school and work the holds. You can't teach yourself more charisma, So the fact that the wrestling will continue to grow is something that's going to keep working. And I want to jump on that and talk about the EPW School of Pro Wrestling, right? So coming through EPW, where you've got those high level trainers, people like Davis Storm, who are there with that level of experience, being in the same area as the Gavin McGavins and even the Marcus Pitts of the world, like, how much do you feel like the training contributes to not just the wrestling, but the character as well? How much of the character has been developed through that training school?
Well, we do have some really good minds there. Like, obviously, our head coach is Damien Slater, one of the best wrestlers in Perth. Marcus Pitt teaches sometimes here and there. And then we've got like Mikey Broderick teaching right now, like Chris Target teaches, all these like different types of minds. We've kind of got a bunch of different classes where it's just all these different styles of wrestling, because these people were all taught different ways. Like Damien Slater was taught differently than Davis Storm, and Davis Storm was taught differently by the Don, who also takes training sometimes. And you've got kind of all these different ways. And while you have these like big, like high quality in ring work guys. Sorry, I'm getting real nervous. I don't know why, but yeah, like your Davis Storms and your Damien Slaters, you've got these people like Twitch will sometimes come and teach a class, and he's opened up. And then you've got Dave. Dave is a really good one, because Dave kind of very early gets to you on like why are you a wrestler and why are you in here, and he'll do this thing where he sits you down, he calls it the hot seat, and he'll just ask you everything. Just ask you everything about your character, all the things you don't know. So even if you think you've got every single answer, like why you're here and like I'm this character and this is why I'm here, he'll ask you something and then you'll be like, well, didn't know that character's real.
Look, there's a reason that we represent the man on the merch. So, search Redbubble for Wrestle Radio Australia so you can grab some of that. But yeah, like talk about an insightful mind when it comes to wrestling. He's someone who, even on the podcast, you get him talking and it's just like insight after insight after insight after insight.
Oh, 100%. And then there's just so many other minds like there who you don't really see as well, who are very, very well versed and like just very good just to like brains to just pick apart. Like even someone like Tyler Jacobs was really good early on. Dan Moore's taught me a lot more than a lot of people. He was actually my first trainer when I started.
I was going to say very special connection between you and Dan Moore, right?
Yes, very much so. I think Perth is always full of these underrated guys who, like, we've got like the big ones where it's like, oh, Damien Slater, head coach, Davis Storm. But I feel like there's just this WA wrestling is so underrated that there's all these guys underneath the surface there who are taking these classes like day in, day out that aren't really getting kind of like the props they do. Like someone like Tyler Jacobs, to see him like get it's his final year now, but seeing him like get his flowers, like that's really something. Dan Moore and Bobby Marshall are two people. I'm really biased, but I've been trying to give them their flowers for years now, and they just don't want to hear anything. But I very much think WA is really good with for having all these just kind of hidden gems.
Absolutely. Like I personally, EPW especially, is a company that I just adore. You know, like I've been going back through. I've actually got at my other place an older red box set DVD of the best of EPW that I think is probably a bit of a collector's item now with the big fist logo on it. But even beyond that, just like going to the EPW Perth Vimeo, you know, catching all the old matches there. And it's been really cool to like track through the careers of a lot of these, you know, people we've talked about, people who've gone on to do huge things, but also guys like yourself. If there's, I've got a feeling that I might know the answer, but one match from your career history that you would want to go back and rewatch, what would it be?
Ooh. I've actually, I don't want to sound a little bit up to myself, but I've done it recently, actually. I was just doing a documentary with a couple people, just like a uni documentary, and they asked me to watch some matches back. And I watched my first match with Jay Taylor back in that Malaga factory, and the other one was Aaron Hawke and me for the coastal title. That's the match. I think that is the match that kind of is the reason why I'm here right now. Like, it was very early on. I only got that match because Dan was injured and Bob wasn't here, which was most of my early career was very much Bob not being here and Dan not being here or having a kid or something like that. So they were very much like, well, it's you and you're kind of like our glass option, so we don't really have you doing anything, but just
break glass in case of Jesse.
Exactly, very much so. But that match is like something where Dan got a little bit
Mighty Encounters, I think.
Yes, it was. You watch on YouTube or the Vimeo right now. And then I came out at this big entrance. I did the cheating thing where I had a bit of a renter crowd because my mum's work friends all came and everybody kind of came down, and it was the loudest I've ever heard anyone for me, especially like the Super Show had about 1,000 people. This was the loudest I've ever heard the EPW crowd be. It was great. I just very much felt like I kind of felt like, oh, this is my one. Like, this is it. This is the biggest moment in my career. I hit the stunner on him, and that the crowd just went wild. Didn't win, unfortunately, but I know that still sticks with me. Like every once in a while, that moment will kind of stick with me, and it kind of remind me of where I am, because I remember being there and being like, this belt means a lot to me. I'd really love to fight for it one day, and I did it, and then I was like, wow, like I don't think it gets better than that.
Yeah,
and then
that's awesome.
2 to 3 years later, I won the EPW title.
Well, you know,
yeah,
you had to come through and beat Damian Slater for the EPW title. That was there as well.
Exactly.
You know?
If it was Aaron Hawke, I don't think I would have won. I think I would have. That's another guy I kind of want to give a shout out to, because he's great. He's another little like kind of like Perth hidden gem who hasn't really like traveled around much. Kind of like one of the older guys, been around for ages, but man, he's real good.
Look, let's talk about Reawakening 23 coming up. Obviously, main event. There's going to be a lot of pressure on you. I'm imagining that that's going to be your focus all show. But I'm guessing that after the show happens, you might have a chance to watch back some other matches on the card. Is there anything that you personally are excited about other than your match on Reawakening?
Honestly, and I was saying it before to a couple people today, I think every match on this card is really solid. Like it's a reawakening card. Well, obviously, I got to say it. The Tyler Jacobs, James Hartness unsanctioned. It's going to be very violent. It's going to be very excited to see what those guys have planned for each other. I don't think Hartness is going to take it easy on him, even though it's his last match. I think he's going to really try to send him out with a reason. Send him out very, very violently. But I think it's going to be very emotional. Tyler Jacobs,
Hartness has a name to make for himself there, right? But there's going to be something special about Tyler Jacobs having a farewell in that kind of match.
He definitely is. He's definitely gonna look to take. I've had conversations with him about it, and like I've talked to him about, like, hey, this is retirement, like this is a big deal, but he's gonna be looking to be the one they talk about after that. And then just very much like Tyler Jacobs was there, like first training days, made me run a lot. Didn't let me get in the ring because my rolls were shit. So you know what? Glad to see him go.
Yeah, you know what? Good riddance. Good riddance.
Good riddance. No, but yeah, no, it's very much, and just being able to talk to him all these years, and just kind of, I know it's weird seeing a lot of the old timers wrap it up. Like this year, next year, we got Cena, Tanahashi, Jacobs, all the top
all
three.
the big names. That's right.
All the big names, but no, he very big name in Perth, and it's going to be an emotional day. I think that's going to be
rightfully so. Someone who's been at EPW, especially for that long, just wild to see. I'm also going to give a shout out to some of those other matches because I'm so psyched for it. I'm going to be talking to Hayden Zenith very soon about his match against CJL for the EPW Invitational Final. The tag titles are on the line in a triple threat, DNT, ATO, the Pulse. Like, that's going to be wild. And then maybe my favorite match type in the world is the pen. I'm a big Solomon Blackwell fan. So seeing him and Slater go in the pen, that's going to be off the charts.
That's going to be very interesting. The pen, people have taken to the pen really well. Like there's an aura about it. And I'm always like, I get a little bit giddy sometimes when I say it.
There's an aura about Blackwell as well. Like that might just be part of it. So. But yeah, like there's
an aura about Damian Slater too. And that's stinky aura because he sucks.
He's a smelly bad man.
Yeah, this is real. This isn't fake. I hate him. For real. Let's get that out there. Let's just
make that really clear.
I hate the guy.
If there's two things you got to know about Jesse Lambert, hates Slater, loves Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Like those are the core elements.
I wouldn't even mention them in the same sentence. That's in
polar opposites.
Yeah, they've actually had to give us separate dressing rooms because after our loss, I just went and tried to fight him.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Now, like just to bring it back into that main event, I can see you've got the Chromacopia shirt on at the moment, and we had that incredible 4-way promo leading in with the 4 men in the main event: Pitt, Taylor King, Kingston, yourself, all running towards that title. And it's so clear that you're almost the character in the thing, right? You've got these beefy, jacked men, and then you have this perfect moment of throwing the keys up and then not catching them, right? How much of these moments... I was meant
to catch it. I have to say it. I have to admit it. I was supposed to catch... I was doing that all day, just throwing up, bang. Throwing up, bang. I was practicing it all the time. Gets to the moment. We took a shot where I caught them, and I'm like, sweet. And then I catch him, and I throw him away because I'm ready to fight. No, they did the one where I miss it.
Well, I was going to compliment you on how perfect a moment it was and ask who came up with it. But I guess I can't do that if you just actually miss catching it.
Caught up with it. Well, our director was a guy named Taylor Broadley. He's also known as Honeybomb Arts. He just did a feature this year called Stubbornly Here. Just won a WA Screen Award. Wow. I'm in it actually.
There you go.
I'm in it way longer than I thought I was. So made sure we plug that one. But no, he's fantastic, and so yeah, he can take credit for it, I guess, because he's the one who made me look the fool.
Oh, it was perfect though, mate. Perfect. So, look, that match is on the horizon. It's coming this Saturday, the 14th of December, Willerton Stadium at EPW ReAwakening 23. Obviously, gold seating is sold out. You can't get that at this point, but get on to epwperth.com where you can grab tickets. There's family bundles there. Do not miss this stat
Last
show.
I checked, there were a couple silver seats. I think they might have gone as well. I think I asked recently just someone. I was like, "Hey, can I get the ticket numbers on the down low?" And it's selling. So I
By
would
the
buy
time this goes live, I do not know whether there will be silver tickets or not. So absolutely get on that for
Definitely.
this Saturday. Jesse, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. Is there anything you want to leave the WRA audience with?
I'll leave with a couple things. Sorry for my word flubs. I haven't been eating a lot. You know, I'm on the shred. There's a bright light on me right now. It's very hot. My air conditioning's broken. Just want to apologize for all that. If I didn't put you over, I'm so sorry. But you know, it's reawakening. It's a great time. If you can, go back and watch some of the old reawakening, see what it's all about. You know, because before Willetton Stadium, there was Cyril Jackson, there was Wanneroo, there was Gate 1 Theatre. There's all these different moments. Check them all out. Check out some of my matches if you want. But no, definitely get excited because WA Wrestling, it's kind of underrated. It's kind of fallen back off the radar a little bit, I feel. And I very much hope we do something that kind of helps us break out again.
Absolutely. Jesse Lambert, thank you so much for your time. Till next time, I'm Lachlan Albert. Have a good one.
No worries.